going to share the 3 most important focus areas or strategies where you should put your energy into on LinkedIn in 2024, where you will get the most for your return. This is specifically for you also if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur. So I have my notes here. Let's get started. For those of you who also don't know, maybe seeing me for the first time, my name is Shanee Moret. I'm the founder of growthacademy.global. And what we do is we basically help startup founders, business owners, small business owners, entrepreneurs grow on LinkedIn through leveraging their personal brand. So first building it, leveraging it to get inbound sales. And personally, I've done this. So I have almost 1 million followers on LinkedIn and over 425,000 LinkedIn newsletter subscribers. We've also helped hundreds of other clients do the same by growing their personal brand on LinkedIn. The strategy that I'm going to share with you today, you will get the most output if you are one of this type of person. You should have at least 1,000 connections on LinkedIn. If you don't have at least 1,000 connections on LinkedIn, that's fine, but you'll get more for implementing this strategy if you do. And there are other videos that I'll do to help you get to that 1,000. But there are a lot of experts that I talk to that become clients that have 10, 20, 30,000 connections on LinkedIn, and they aren't doing anything with them. So if especially you fall into that category, you could do so little and get such a return. And it's just about turning the nozzle up. You've been in the trenches, so you're a real expert. Maybe you've been doing what you're doing for 5 to 25 years, and you may even see a lack of quality content in your specific niche that is just very generic, that when you look at it, you're like, wow, this is so much more nuanced than it's being portrayed to be. And I could really pour into this, but you just don't have a system implemented to do so. And you know that you probably should be sharing more content or starting to share content if you haven't already. So the first strategy I would focus on, and that I advise clients to focus on when we're starting to work together, is the LinkedIn newsletter. So if you have not started your LinkedIn newsletter, I want you to listen very closely. If you have started your LinkedIn newsletter, most of the things that we see people fall off, or they started with a strategy that doesn't support the main goal that they're trying to prioritize in their business. So we may have to restart from the start. So what is a LinkedIn newsletter and why do I advise this? What a LinkedIn newsletter allows you to do is reach a percentage of your LinkedIn network. So a percentage of your followers and your connections, not just on LinkedIn, but outside of LinkedIn in their inbox. So what LinkedIn will do is, instead of you publishing an article on LinkedIn like it was 2 years ago, and then they maybe see it on your profile or in the feed, and then it could take forever for it to even rank on Google. What's happening now is that when you start a LinkedIn newsletter, all of your followers will get the opportunity to subscribe. A percentage will subscribe, and then those subscribers will receive all of your articles from that point forward in their inbox, which I think is very powerful, because when we look at the percentage of people who may see your posts on their feed, let's say it's 5%, let's say it's 10%, let's say it's 1%, and not just see it, but actually engage with it, which it goes much lower because it is LinkedIn and decision makers don't want their engagement and their activity to be public, and they know it's public. So you may post something on LinkedIn, get no engagement, but people are actually noticing. And what the LinkedIn newsletter allows is for you to reach them in their inbox. We have a 40 to 50% average open rate of those emails, and you're just staying top of mind with more people who already know, like, and trust you in your network. This cannot be underestimated by any means. What this also will allow you to do is to prove to yourself that your LinkedIn network is not dead. There's a lot of people that come to me and they're like, I have 10,000 connections or more, but my LinkedIn network is dead. And I'm like, why do you say that? And they're like, because I posted once a year ago and nobody responded, or I posted for a month and I barely got any engagement. And again, it's going back to that may be the norm of LinkedIn, especially if you have a network full of leaders. You have to learn how to get them to engage, because they may want to be more private with their activity because they don't want it to be public and they know that it is public on the platform. So if a CEO engages with a particular post, all of their network, their employees, their board of directors, whatever, will be be able to see that activity, which is why people may even say to you outside of LinkedIn, hey, I've been seeing your post, but they'll never engage. I have clients that join and they're like, I've been following you for 3 years. I love your content. They've never liked a post. And it's because now they're in a position to be more public. That being said, what it allows is if you have 10,000 connections or 10,000 followers, what it allows you to do is to see, wow, 2,000 to 3,000 are active because they accepted the invitation to subscribe to my newsletter within the first 72 hours, which proves that they are active on the platform. And secondly, that they are interested in learning and receiving more information from you on a particular topic. And if you're implementing and deploying a LinkedIn newsletter strategy correctly, that particular topic should be centered around your main goal in your business. But I just want to go over the basics of like, you should be investing a part of your energy and time if you're going to start building your personal brand on LinkedIn into LinkedIn newsletters. The other thing is that you reach people that already know, like, and trust you, and you just stay top of mind with those people. And what you can start to do is really slowly educate those people as to the real problem that you help clients with and your particular expertise today, because maybe they worked with you 10 or 15 years ago. Now you're doing something different. But what you do is be specific. So that person should know, hey, if I have a friend struggling with XYZ, or if I have a friend who's leading a team that is struggling with XYZ and they need help with this, I can connect them with you. And you'd be surprised how fast this could potentially happen. So we have a client recently, she closed 2 major deals with this company, one in their American department and one in their European team. And this all happened because she started publishing LinkedIn newsletters. Someone that is in her network that also goes to her gym kept seeing her, was reminded of exactly what it is that she does, what her expertise is, went up to her and was like, hey, I think I'm going to refer you to my company because we've been needing someone with this expertise. And she closed 2 major deals because of it. So a lot of the times when you have that network that's there, you'd be surprised what weak ties in your network, second or third degree connections, will even refer you to a friend or to a friend that has a company or to someone, a decision maker in their own company. And a lot of the times people don't talk about that, the power of even receiving referrals from your trusted network on LinkedIn, just because of the quality of the people on LinkedIn, where 4 out of 5 people are decision makers. I see this a lot, especially if someone is starting a business or has started a business after maybe being an esteemed leader in corporate, is that they don't want to be bothersome. So they may not want to post a lot on their feed, like videos or text posts or polls. They want to be a little bit more conservative, and they feel that that's annoying, that may be annoying their network to reach people that don't want to be reached. So what this does is if someone says, I want to subscribe to your newsletter, you're reaching only those people. So it can remove that resistance sometimes. And if you know what you're doing, it's very possible within a short amount of time compared to what it would take on your own website to rank on something like Google and Bing. And you just have to know what type of topics to write about based on your particular expertise, what gaps to fill. It's not just about starting it. I see a lot of people start newsletters after their first, second, or third edition, they fall off. And then you'll go to their newsletter. It says created a year ago, and there's 2 articles or 3 articles within that newsletter, which you don't want, because that also could negatively affect your personal brand because it just shows lack of consistency. And you'd be surprised how important consistency is when someone is deciding between one expert and another expert with similar results, similar skills, so on and so forth. The second thing that I would focus on if I were going to really start to build my personal brand on LinkedIn today are LinkedIn short videos or LinkedIn Reels, LinkedIn Shorts. I see on Google and YouTube that people keep searching LinkedIn Shorts or LinkedIn Reels, however it is that you want to call them. If you're not aware, LinkedIn is testing out this beta feature where basically at the bottom of your screen, instead of it just saying home and network and jobs and whatever it is that it says on the bottom of the screen, on your phone, it will now say home, and then it will have a video tab. And when you click that video tab, you will only be able to scroll with videos, kind of like TikTok. So you just scroll up and you see a video, you see a video, you see a video. These videos are the same size as a YouTube short or or TikTok video, and they are focused on learning, education, inspiration, leadership, more LinkedIn kind of topics, but that's what they're testing. If you're not in the beta feature, your video can still be shown in the beta feed. So just know that if you start posting short videos on LinkedIn, you could potentially be shown in the feed. We have clients that do not have the beta feature on their phone, but whose videos have just taken off and are shown in that feed. So here are the best practices when it comes to those short videos and why I would suggest starting to differentiate yourself by posting these short videos on LinkedIn. Number one, they're critical to prove that you're a real human being that actually knows what you're talking about. And LinkedIn newsletters are great, but if I go to a profile and they only have written content and LinkedIn newsletters, I'm thinking, is this a real person? Why does this person never show themselves? Are they trying to hide something? There's a lot of questions. There have even been studies. If I walk up to you with my hands behind my back, then you're going to be like, what do you have in your hands? You're going to be a little bit suspicious. The same thing when you're building your personal brand. If you never do video, if they can't even search on Google or YouTube or LinkedIn and find one video, those questions may start to pop up, especially with the rise of AI. So these shorts, we feel, are also designed to get you in front of a new audience. And I say this because when the short reels on this new beta feature are shown that are doing well, there's a lot of second and third degree connections in the comments. And what that tells me is that you're tapping into new audiences. And that's really good. So if you're someone who especially wants to reach new people on LinkedIn and then get those people to then subscribe to your LinkedIn newsletter, these two work really well together. Because if I'm on this feed and I see a video that you have created that's really interesting, and then I click onto your profile, what's going to happen is that LinkedIn is going to send me a little notification that says, hey, do you want to subscribe to John's newsletter? So once you have your LinkedIn newsletter, there's this automatic trigger that when new people get to your profile, if they're not already following you or connected with you, that they will get an invitation to subscribe to your newsletter. And the beauty of staying consistent is that when you're constantly consistent with the videos, you just get more subscribers to your LinkedIn newsletter. So let's go into a few of the best practices of LinkedIn short video. So number one, shoot vertically. Vertically is like putting your phone up, not wide like a YouTube video, but vertical shot. The video should be between we've seen that 45 seconds and 90 seconds or 45 seconds and 2 minutes works pretty well. And especially if that video is saying something that isn't really said already that they've seen in a million other videos, which is very important. You should see these videos twofold. One partition of the videos you should see as educational. So as things that are probably directly related to what it is that you sell or what it is that you do with the clients that you have. And then B, inspirational. So think about the emotional and energetic wellness of your clients outside of what it is that you do that you may have in common with them. Maybe it's books that you've read. Maybe it's personal development stuff that you're working on. What things could you share that could benefit them so that they could also have the energy to focus more on what they want to achieve? One of those things may be related to what it is that you sell. So shoot vertically between 45 seconds and 2 minutes. The third thing is to partition the videos between educational and inspirational. The fourth thing is to get to the point in the video. I see a lot of those videos when I'm scrolling that are like, hey, LinkedIn family, my name is... I don't think that that's necessary, especially when you're on a feed like that. It's almost like I want you to earn that position. So if I find what really is interesting in this video, if I find that what you're saying is cool, my natural curiosity is going to be like, who is this? And because it's connected to your LinkedIn, I'm just going to go to your profile and see what else I could find about you, where I could learn more, where I could sign up for your private newsletter. Do you have a website? But if you're not saying what I need you to say to spark that curiosity, the way that my brain and other people's brains have been trained for this short feed is to just move on. So you want to get to the point. The fifth thing is to use captions on your video. And there are a million apps that you could use to do this on your phone. phone, if you're going to shoot on your phone, there's literally an app called Captions, and then there's an app called CapCut. If you're going to edit more on your computer, I highly recommend either CapCut, which has a desktop app now, or Descript. And there are a lot of other ones. If you're going to repurpose a long video that you have into short videos, then you could use Opus or Descript. And I'll put all of that in the information below. So the sixth thing is to write text with your video. So when you publish a video on LinkedIn, it's going to have this space above it where you could write something to go with your video. I advise that you write something similar to what you say in your video. Maybe you could add some context, and then at the bottom, always lead them to the call to action, or lead them to somewhere, maybe a longer form video where they could stay on topic. I'll give you an example. If I do a short and it's like, these are the 3 reasons why you should do your LinkedIn newsletter, and then I send you to an article that's about LinkedIn live events, that really is not going to make sense. But if I send you to an article about the 7 other reasons or how to actually start your LinkedIn newsletter, that logical sequence makes sense and more people will click. So it's not just about putting a call to action, it's about making sure that the call to action makes sense and is the next step in whatever sequence it is that you're expressing. The 7th thing is to share specific and or actionable advice. I should watch that video and be able to go do something. I should watch that video and be able to ask myself a question. I should watch that video and be able to be inspired because of a specific story that you share. But if it's just general and very generic, people will just scroll by because they've heard it a million times, and you're not proving through the specificity of what you're sharing that you actually are different, unique, and know what you're talking about. You could have just Googled that or had ChatGPT write that script or took it from somebody else. So when I'm watching the short, I should feel like, whoa, this person really knows what they're talking about. Or I've heard that thing before, but I haven't heard it put in this particular way. And that really helps me understand this particular thing. If someone's not getting that feeling, then it's time to really work on the videos. And then number 8, do not put logos on it to make it look like an ad. So I see a lot of people when they do the shorts, they put their website, their logo, all of this branded stuff, and it should not feel like an advertisement. It should feel like helpful, relevant, recent information. I should feel intrigued. I should feel like I want to know who this person is. Who is this person? And then I should want to click your profile, and your profile should obviously be optimized for me to know where exactly do I go next to learn more about this person, even if that next step is outside of LinkedIn. The third thing that I would focus on LinkedIn live video events. And there's so many reasons I could go down a rabbit hole for an hour to express the value of LinkedIn live video events. But this is where I truly believe that you can get the most leverage when pairing these together with LinkedIn newsletters. So let's just imagine a world where you, over the next 6 weeks, publish 1 or 2 LinkedIn newsletters a week. And let's say that you're looking at the data, you know which ones perform best for your particular audience, you know which ones perform best based on the metric that it is that we're tracking to determine that success. And you see that there's 2 major outliers or 3 outliers out of the 6 or the 8 that you've done. And what we do is maybe we turn those LinkedIn newsletters into LinkedIn live events, or maybe you turn your LinkedIn live events into your next 4 LinkedIn newsletters. So when these 2 work together, you don't always have to work harder. You can work a lot smarter. And when you build a library of assets of 15 to 20 minute trainings, these can be leveraged in so many ways. Other than LinkedIn newsletters, you can leverage them for long form edited video that maybe you post on YouTube, or maybe that you put in a portal for a membership, or maybe you just make available to clients and have a library of your videos. But the thing is that you're just proving your expertise, proving that you know what you're talking about, and proving that you're willing to show up live and answer questions on the spot, which is the most authentic thing that you could do, especially as more and more of your competitors may start to create other types of content like written content, video content, short form video content. A lot of them are still not doing going live. And you also practice. I think that doing live virtual events helps you practice when you go to speak on a podcast or be a guest presenter somewhere, whether that is virtually or in person. It helps you improve your communication skills. We have a few clients recently that have done their live events consistently for at least 8 weeks. And as an experiment, I was just like, you know what, just start to repost some of these trainings after they've been edited a little to YouTube and post some YouTube shorts. We had a few people do this, but 2 of them really did it strong for 5 days. And the first one got like 2,500 views within 5 days on YouTube. And the second one got like 11,000. Most of those came from the shorts, but still that's fueling views to the long form. But if you don't have those assets, if you don't build up the skill of going live weekly, then you won't have that collection of assets to be able to repurpose. If you start your LinkedIn newsletter before you start your lives, I went into this, you could actually, for example, I recently audited my LinkedIn newsletters. One of the best ones was 10 ways to promote your LinkedIn live events. I could take that newsletter and I could add context, add case studies, add more examples, maybe add 5 more ways to promote the live event. And then I could come on here and do the live event. And then I could re-leverage that to maybe turn each one of those points into its own LinkedIn newsletter as I go into the more details of each point. So there are a lot of ways to understand exactly how to make this machine work for you. And then again, you're able to ask people questions, which I love. So if you answer people's questions, which I love, and again, if you want to deploy any of these things, then message me. But specifically, if you want to start with the LinkedIn newsletter, which I think is the easiest place to start. Your network is right there. The tool is right there. You don't have to learn any complicated technology or use a separate software to be able to reach these people in their emails. The deliverability is going to be much higher than a private software because most of private softwares, when you start, you go to spam. And more than that, you also start to learn the skill of email marketing so that when you are ready to build your private email list, you know exactly what your audience likes to receive. And you have that data available to you of what works best for your particular audience. So if you have done nothing on LinkedIn, and you have not been posting, then I would probably advise 30 days of video. And the reason for that is just because our brains are wired to remember video. And you need to get your face out there. You need to get known, especially if you're the founder. And 30 days of that should do the trick. And then you could start to do maybe 3 a week. But it really depends. Even let's say after 30 days, if you start to pull back on video and you see that your metrics are starting to suffer because people really love your videos, then it's really about looking at the data. So that's number 1. Number 2, with the events, you should probably do 1 weekly. And then once that becomes easy, you could do a couple weekly because one could be scheduled with the invites in advance. And then one could just be a pop-up for fun or a pop-up so that you have another asset that's recorded. But until you can do it weekly, like you could just wake up in the morning and breathe, it's so easy, then I wouldn't add more. I hope that you learned something from today. God bless you and have a phenomenal day. Ciao.